Hello, I'm Dan with Four Winds Ancestral Skills. I'm out here in the chilly woods right now. We had a Arctic blast coming down from Canada, bringing some pretty cold weather, so I figured I'd get out and enjoy it while it's here. When I left, the temperature was roughly negative 10 degrees, and supposedly the high today is only going to get up to about 5, and then it's going to dip back down extra cold tonight. So I'm going to have to construct a decently warm shelter. What I had in mind was a kind of a modified Morris Kohansky super shelter. If you're not familiar with him, he's a he was a Canadian bushcrafter who kind of coined the term super shelter, I think back in the 80s, something like that. But nonetheless, I'm going to construct one of those using just some plastic, and then I'm going to pair it with a long fire to help keep it warm. So we got a lot to do, so let's get started. Alright, this is a pretty good spot right here. Relatively flat, there's no obstacles or anything in the way. There's a tree I can anchor off to here. There's no dead branches above me. This will be a pretty good spot for the night. Alright, now that I got a spot picked out, I'm going to secure my gear so it's not just laying on the ground. Now the shelter itself doesn't really require a whole lot of supplies. I brought some plastic, a mylar tarp, and some wool blankets to stay warm. But the fire that I'm going to make to burn out here will require a decent amount of wood to keep me warm. So normally when I go out in the backcountry, I'll just bring my little Baco handsaw. Today though, I am going to be processing some bigger pieces of downed wood that are around here, and I went ahead and brought this. This is my Katana Boy. It's actually a folding saw. This thing chews through wood like nobody's business. So since I will be processing a decent amount of wood, I went ahead and brought this because this will go through it way faster than trying to cut smaller pieces of wood to stoke this fire. Like a knife through butter. Now if you are doing a bunch of wood cutting, it is easy to make something kind of like this. Just get an old piece of wood and it has a bit of a Y shape in it. You put it up like this and it'll suspend it for you and make your cutting a lot easier. One side I'm going to have a tree to anchor down to, but on the other side there's nothing there, so I'm going to have to make a tripod to be able to hold it up. All right, now that my ridge here is secured between the tripod and the tree, I'm going to work on the bed before I actually put the plastic on here. All right, I got the bed frame more or less set. I got rocks around the outsides of these. And what that'll do is kind of hold it in place. And then I go get a bunch of debris, leaves, small pine branches, things like that, and put in here and build this up to give it a little bit of loft. All right, I got plenty of debris in here. This will help keep me up off the ground and keep me from freezing to death over the night. All right, then we throw on the Mylar sheet. This tarp right here has one of the grommets ripped out in the corner. You can still make use of that. You can get like a rock, a pine cone, any little thing. I have a little piece of wood right here. And with that, you just kind of wind it up in there so there's like a little nub. And then you can take that point, slip a piece of cordage around it, and then you have that as a tie down. All right, we got the tarp up, all secured. Next step, plastic. All right, now we have to seal up these edges here. Not so they're airtight, but so they at least hold in the heat. Now, how I like to do that, you can use like duct tape or a few different ways. How I like to do it is just take a piece of wood, cut little notches in here. You can use these basically like clothespins. All right, from here, you just want to take the plastic, kind of connect the ends, and you can just kind of roll them together a little bit, and that flattens them out. And you can just kind of push that in together with them. And then you just do that a couple more times. Get this side all squared away. Now as you're going along here, you don't want this thing actually airtight. You would essentially asphyxiate in there if you did. It's kind of difficult to make it actually airtight, but just to be sure I get plenty of airflow myself. On the downside, I usually leave a little gap towards the bottom. That way you'll still have a little bit of airflow and a little bit of oxygen coming through there. Once you're all done with that, you should have a decent amount of overhang out here in the front, and from there you can just take a small log like this, fairly straight, without too many branches and stuff coming off it. And just wrap it up. Alright, there you go. It's pretty much all put together. Here's your front door to climb on in there. The top end, I usually leave open a little bit, like I said, for ventilation. And then I adjust it after I'm already in there to kind of get it to the level I want. Next step is I'm going to build a long fire out here to create heat, which will then go into the plastic and create kind of a greenhouse effect. Once the fire's actually going, this thing does get fairly warm. Sometimes you need to adjust the ventilation just so you don't get too hot, because it can get pretty warm in there. Let's climb in there and see how comfortable it is. There, that's actually pretty comfortable. I could definitely sleep the night in here. Alright, this is from the inside laying here. You can see the plastic seal down there at the bottom. So it's adjustable up here by my head, so I can open this or close it more depending on how much ventilation I'm going to need. Now when we do the fire, we want to make sure we're far enough away, at least several feet from the front of the shelter here, to where we're actually going to have a fire. If you get it too close, it'll actually melt the plastic and it'll be a big mess. Well, it's starting to get dark now and even colder than it was before. So I'm going to go ahead and get a fire started real quick. That way I can warm up a little bit next to it and also melt some snow, because I'm a little low on water. I had an extra bottle in my pack, but of course that froze solid. So it would be nice to get this fire going and warm up a little bit anyway. I have my ferro rod and actually a little fire starter somebody gave me. I've never used one of these before, but it looks kind of cool. It has a little piece of wax jute cord here in the end. You can adjust how long it is, but you essentially light this little piece of jute cord and it'll sit there and burn like a candle for a minute till you get the stuff you need started. There we go. It's pretty chilly out right now. Looks like about -10. Alright, I got my long fire built. And it should be just the thing to keep my shelter nice and toasty. Keep me warm all night. Alright, here we are from the inside. There's our fire. And looking at the thermometer, about 45-ish degrees, something like that. And outside it's about -10. So it's considerably warmer in here. Not to mention that we're not getting really any breeze in here. It's keeping all the draft out. Good morning. The shelter behind me worked pretty well over the night. I had my long fire going, and it evenly heated it pretty well. It kept it really warm inside. In fact, that was the only issue. It would kind of spike the temperature up as the heat was coming off the fire at its maximum, and then it kind of slowly burnt down, and then it would kind of cool off. So a couple times I had to like open the end of it off, let some of the heat out because it was getting a little too warm in there. Other than the fluctuation, though, it worked pretty good. It got up to, it was -10 out here. A couple times it started snowing lightly, and in there it got up to at one point 50 degrees. So it was nice and toasty in there. Right now it's about 4 degrees out, so at least it's above zero, so that's an improvement. I'm gonna stoke these coals and get some coffee going, because no better way to start the day. My bottle of water from last night froze up because it was so cold. So, gotta thaw that out before I can even make myself some coffee. Alright, while the coffee's heating up, talk about the shelter real quick. We have our bed inside. It works really well. I put a bunch of leaves and small debris in there. That was enough to keep me up off the ground and keep me warm, keep me insulated from the earth. I also had these 2 wool blankets here to help insulate me. The reflective mylar piece right here, that worked pretty well. Like I said, the heat would come in, go through the plastic and hit this thing here and kind of keep that heat in there better. But this here was plenty enough to keep me warm down to negative 10 degrees. All right, that's a little better. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions about anything I covered here today, feel free to leave them in the comments below, or you can send me a message, fourwindsancestral@gmail.com. As always, check out our website, fourwindsancestralskills.com, and our Facebook page and group. And if you like my content and you haven't done so yet, go ahead and like and subscribe while you're here so you can check out more of my videos in the future. Well, unfortunately, I can't lounge around and play out in the woods all day, so time to pack up camp and head out. Well, thanks. I appreciate you watching my video. Anyway, I'm Dan with 4 Winds Ancestral Skills, reminding you to get out there and make history. Take care.